Hi, everybody. My name is Colter Johnson, the host of the Team Member Perspective podcast show. Thank you for listening in, for watching this. It means the world to me. I've been wanting to do this for a long time now, but have found excuses, have put it off, but we're finally here, finally doing it. So I couldn't be more grateful and excited for that. On the first episode of this show, I want to accomplish two things. First, I want to explain the mission, what the purpose is and what my vision is with this podcast. And second, I want to recount my story and my journey of how I went from knowing nothing about insurance to being in the insurance space, going on my 6th year and finding a lot of success with selling insurance. So let's first go ahead and start with the mission. What's the purpose? What's the mission of the Team Member Perspective podcast show? What do I hope to accomplish with this? Well, guys, it's simple. I want to help agencies, agents, and team members upgrade your thinking, right? Start thinking differently about your roles and about the opportunity that you have to write more policies so you can make more money ultimately, but also have a bigger impact on those around you. And as you start writing more policies, I want to bring light on how to make those policies worth more. Because if they're worth more, that means you're also making more money and you're having a bigger impact on those around you. So that's my goal. And I'm going to accomplish that by bringing on different high-performing guests that are in top-producing agencies, whether they're agents themselves or team members that are doing it consistently at a high level. And I'm also going to bring insight on my experiences and what I have found to work, whether those are sales tactics, strategies, mindset, limiting beliefs, and everything in between there. I hope to be a resource to help each of you take your life and production to the next level. So let's talk a little bit about me and about my journey of how I got into insurance and what I was doing before that, and the realizations and milestones that I've had in my career. So we're going to rewind about 7 years. I was in college working 2 part-time jobs, had a full class load, and I just was not happy with my position, right? I mean, school is great. That's something that I always wanted to do, told to do. And so I was going to school. Like, that was never a question in my mind. But I was working these 2 part-time jobs that I was not happy there. And I'll tell you why, because I felt like all I was doing was trading my time for money. It was just they were just hourly jobs, no commission, no bonus. And so the incentive for me to work harder was virtually just not there, right? Because it didn't matter if I went to work and I worked really hard and had a lot of success versus if I was lazy, I was going to have the same paycheck every 2 weeks. And so I was not happy. I was not making money. And honestly, at the time, I had a lot of limiting beliefs about my earning potential, about what was possible financially for me. And so being in that position, I had a couple of friends that were door-to-door salesmen. And they had come off a couple summers, made a bunch of money. You know, they tell me, hey, Colter, this is what I made. And they ended up recruiting me to be a door-to-door salesman. So left for 4 months in a summer, and I went to Oklahoma. It was Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I was selling alarm systems and home automation. And I want to kind of share my experience with my first week, okay? And a little backstory with me up to this point in my life. I had no sales experience. I had no idea how to build value around a product to a stranger and just didn't have any sales skills, okay? So my first week was a great experience for me, but for the first 4 days of the week, I had no success at all. I was knocking on a lot of doors. It was hard. I mean, they're strangers. Imagine that, right? Knocking on random people's doors, trying to sell them this alarm system, trying to tell them why they should buy it, and didn't have a lot of success. And I started to get discouraged and think, man, maybe this isn't for me. You know, all of that negative self-talk started to build up. But I remember I made a decision, right? And I understood that if it's not working in these 4 days, let's try to switch it up. So I committed to waking up early, studying these training videos the company had provided for us, perfecting and getting better at my door pitch, doing role plays with my different coworkers out there, and committed to trying to make it happen. And I remember, the first 4 days didn't sell anything, but the weekend I ended up selling 4 alarm systems, which was awesome, right? I had made more money in that first week of doing door-to-door sales than I had in a month working my jobs back home. And so that experience in that first week where I didn't know anything and I was struggling to actually making a few tweaks, changes, getting into some training for myself allowed me to actually start to get results. And these limiting beliefs about money started to lift a little bit for me, and I started to see my true earning potential. So that was a great experience for me. I ended that summer and did really well as a rookie and was committed to going out another summer. But this time I went out with a different company because a buddy of mine and me and a buddy had the chance to go and manage a team. So we ended up recruiting a team, put a team together, and we went to San Antonio, Texas, and we were selling direct TV and internet. And again, guys, right? I developed these sales skills from the summer before, so I knew how to sell. But I had this new challenge of managing a team, training a team for them to actually sell as well, right? Because the way it was set up, if I was going to manage them and help them, I was going to get paid to do that, right? And so fast forward to the end of the summer, we had a lot of success. I, had personal success with my sales, but also we were able to do pretty well as a first-year team, and those that were with me had decent success as well. So at this point, right, I am still committed to go out for another year, but I met my wife going back to school, and I knew that I didn't want to continue to leave every summer and go and work, bust my butt, knock doors. And so I started looking at other things, right? And at this point, I was in school. There was a man from a company that came in and did a presentation for our class. And he was in the financial planning space. And that was something that had crossed my mind. Well, maybe I want to be a financial planner. I had known some financial planners that were very successful, and I liked that idea. So This man that spoke to our class said that they were going to have an internship. And anyways, I applied, got an interview, and he accepted me. I had got the position, but a requirement for me to do that job was to go and get my life and health license in our state, because I was going to be selling a lot of life insurance. So I went and did that, studied, passed the test, and I was ready to go. That was my next step, was to work with this financial planning firm. And I ended up doing some more research, talking with my parents' financial planner, because I wanted to pick his brain, job shadow him, and see if it's something that I actually wanted to do. So as I met with him, he asked me what I was planning on doing. I told him I had an internship that I had gotten and that I had my life and health license. I was ready to go. And he brought some light to me, brought a different perspective. And anyways, I ended up getting cold feet, didn't really want to go that route. And that was that, right? But I had my life and health license that I didn't really know what to do with. I knew I didn't want to go out and sell another summer because I was probably going to be getting married that year and didn't want to leave again. So I had this life and health license, and I had known a State Farm agent in my area from my sister, but also some of my friends. And actually one of my friends was working for him at the time. And so I thought, well, let's go and interview and see if he'd let me work for him. So I interview. He was pretty tough on me, which I'm very, very grateful for, guys. He hired me on as commission only, which if I could go back, I would keep it like that, right? And I'll tell you why, because I had skin in the game. I was used to commission only. I knew how to work hard, how to, make money by selling. And so that's how it started. Fast forward, my wife and I decided we're going to get married. And that's when I went into my agent's office and I said, hey, can we work something out? Maybe work on a base plus commission model for me. And, fast forward to now, we've worked it out. I've been with him 6 years, and I've learned a lot along the way. So as I started out with him, right, I had all of this sales experience. I had these sales skills that I was fortunate enough to have developed over those 2 summers. So I thought I was going to go in there and just crush it, right? I knew how to work hard and I knew how to sell. So what was going to stop me? So I get into the insurance space and quickly realize that it is a completely different sell than what I was used to. In the door-to-door space, if I knock on your door and you tell me no, or you say, oh, I'm going to think about it, odds of me going back and closing that were very, very low, right? Follow-up just really wasn't a big thing in the door-to-door space. And so that was my mentality. That's how I was thinking with the insurance. Hey, if you're not going to buy on the phone or right now with me, you're not going to buy. I quickly learned that that is not how the insurance space works. Follow-up is absolutely essential. It is crucial. Insurance is a follow-up business, and that's something I had to learn pretty quickly, that you need to follow up. And just because they don't buy on the phone call there or in the office with you doesn't mean they're not going to buy, but you need to follow up if you want to make that happen. So follow up, that was something new that I had to learn in the business. And once I started following up more, I started closing more policies. Okay. There was another challenge I faced. I was talking to everybody that I possibly could about life insurance, about disability insurance, about umbrella insurance, about jewelry insurance, everything, right? And I wasn't having success. I mean, I was to a certain degree, but not like I should. I was talking to so many people. My closing ratio was very low. It was very small. And so again, I decided to figure out like, what's going on? Why am I not having success? And as I did that, started to get into training, into some personal development, I realized a couple things. One, insurance is complex, right? And because it's complex, if it's complex for us as team members and agents, how is it for our customers and people that don't know insurance? It is absolutely even more complex, right? And it's an invisible product. It's different to sell than a physical product that I could show people. And so between it being complex and it being an invisible product, really just a promise, it was hard and I wasn't having a lot of success. Not until I realized that instead of talking to my customers so much and focusing so much on the features of insurance and what policies are and what they're called, not having success doing that, I slowly tweaked and started to talk to my customers about what these policies, what these coverages actually do for them, right? The benefits that they receive by having these coverages or policies in place. And so I went from talking about features, which I had known in my previous jobs, but didn't realize I was doing insurance. I went from talking about features and having no success to making a tweak and starting to talk to people about benefits. And I started to see success that I'd never seen in that space, right? And so that was a realization I had. Instead of focusing so much on what these policies are and what they're called, start to focus on what these policies actually do for your customers and what's in it for them. What are the benefits, right? Paint that picture for them so they can see why it would be important to have those in place. So I learned that, started talking to customers about benefits, and that has been absolutely foundational and has changed my career in insurance, right? So for those of you that want to take your production, whether that's life insurance, auto insurance, homeowners insurance, health insurance policies, you want to take it to that next level, start to talk to your customers more about what these coverages and policies do for them rather than focusing so much on what they are, okay? And so that was that was a big change for me in my career and doing insurance. And I started to see a lot of success, started to consistently produce over 200 life insurance applications every single year, and doing a lot of premium as well. And because I learned how to focus on benefits rather than features, that has allowed me to have that consistent success. Okay. And one last thing that I will end on that has really helped me in my career is, along with these features and benefits, there was something else that really catapulted my success in the insurance space. And it was simply upgrading my thinking. I was blessed to be hired on by an agent that actually cares about training us, that actually cares about our personal development. He recommended us, actually he purchased a book for all of us on his team for Christmas, The Miracle Morning. And up to this point, guys, I hadn't read any sort of personal development book. I didn't really care and didn't really see why that would help me sell more insurance or have more success. Up until he bought this book, I decided, you know what, let's get into it. He had said that it has really helped him in his career. And as I started to be around more successful people, it was a trend. All of them were into personal development to whatever extent, whether it's podcast, books, whatever it is, right? So I get into this book and end up establishing a morning routine for myself, which I started to be consistent with that. And I saw that consistency spill into my production at work, right? And so that was really cool. That really helped me catapult my success. But more than anything, because I was into this book, I was starting to think differently about my life and about my role in the agency. And because I was starting to think differently, I started to act a little bit differently, right? And when I started to act a little bit differently and establish these different habits, I started to see even more success with what I was doing. And so personal development and learning to think differently and upgrade your thinking has been a very important part in my success and in my journey. So guys, that's a little bit about me. I know that was kind of here and there, but that is, my experience selling door to door to now in insurance has given me a lot of skills, a lot of realizations that I now take with me every single day that have allowed me to consistently have that success. So that is what I have for you guys today. I'm excited to continue to put out more content. So tune in. And my goal, guys, is I want to help each of you with your life, with your production, and take those things to that next level. Thank you, guys.